Hello everyone out there, it is Robert Sacchetto again with Robcast, the Prevenge of the Nerd podcast. Yes. Hello everyone, I am Rob Sacchetto and I'm coming to you from my wonderful movie room. So you know what that means? That means it is going to be another new movie review. So it has come to my grim attention that a lot of people, like in their earlier years, like in their 20s, even 30s, are not aware of some of the most amazing movies of all time. I would really love to shed some light on those. Today, it's going to be one of my most cherished movies of all time. It is The Crow. So this is one of the best, I think one of the best sort of, I don't want to say adaptations in terms of adapting a specific story in comics, but it is it's based on a comic book by James O'Barr. An independent comic book, a black and white comic book that came out, I believe, like either late 80s or early 90s. I'm not quite sure of the release date of the comic, but I'm going to put this down now. Now that you've got a good idea of what it is. There you go, The Crow. There it is, right there. This is the collector's series special edition. It's a two DVD. Actually, this is a great edition, by the way, because it, speaking of James O'Barr, it actually goes into a lot of detail about the creation of The Crow, the comic book. But as far as adapting a concept to film, I find it's one of the most amazing films in doing that. James O'Barr created the character The Crow. The Crow is basically a spirit of vengeance or revenge. So in this film, I'm going to go to the film because I don't like crossing paths with I don't want to talk about the book and how it was, how the film was I guess a result of it. I don't really want to talk about the backstory. I want to talk about the movie. It's a movie review, so we're talking about the movie. This movie stars Brandon Lee as the Crow in his biggest starring role. Unfortunately, Brandon Lee, son of Bruce Lee, if you didn't know, died tragically on the set of this film, and a lot of his, or at least some of his scenes had to be digitally recreated. And at the time, this was an early movie, so at the time they didn't really have much technology to do that, but they did such an amazing job. It's literally seamless. If you didn't know the scenes, you wouldn't know the scenes. So I'm not going to tell you which scenes they are. You can find that out for yourself. I obviously highly implore you to watch this movie. It is incredible. It is an action movie. It's very heartfelt as well. It has incredible mood. Set pieces, like the set design is incredible. It was directed by Alex Proyas. Alex Proyas went on to do iRobot and several other movies. I can't quite. I can't pinpoint off the top of my head right now what else Alex Proyas did, but he did some higher profile things that I can't quite remember right off the top of my head right now though. But amazing director. This was his big, I think, directorial debut, and so basically it takes place in a city. It's undetermined where it is really, and it's. Basically what happens is, the main character and his girlfriend get killed by a gang of thugs who, there's a quartet of these thugs, or is there 5 of them? I can't remember now if there's 4 or 5 of them, but anyway, the dude, is resurrected, and he goes out for revenge after these guys. That's basically the entire movie in a nutshell. Clearly, there are many other parts to it that are integral in the plot. There's a really incredible sort of mysticism part where the main villain, played by Michael Winsott or Wincott, depending on how you pronounce his name, who's an amazing character actor. He's got one of the best voices ever. He plays the main villain guy in charge of basically everything. So his sister is this sort of witch type person. She factors into it. Halloween factors into it. It's kind of like a Halloween movie, kind of. If you wanna really classify movies, like everyone's like, oh, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. This is kind of like a Halloween movie, so watch it at Halloween. Watch it every Halloween. It's worth it. It's so good. Like I said, the set design is phenomenal. A lot of practical effects, of course, too, because of the time the time that it was done. So yes, The Crow itself. The character is basically this undead vigilante that goes out for revenge. So where would we be movie-wise without the concept of revenge? It's in everything. But again, in this, it's handled so well. There's an amazing soundtrack. The soundtrack is so fantastic. There's so many great soundtracks for movies back in this era, like Judgment Night and even Spawn. Spawn was a horrible movie, but the soundtrack was fantastic. I have that soundtrack, and I play it often. The Crow soundtrack was fantastic too. Judgment Night is like amazing from that movie, Judgment Night, the Judgment Night soundtrack. But this soundtrack is fantastic. The soundtrack factors in a lot in the film too, even in real time. They'll be in a nightclub or something, and they'll actually be playing the song. Like the band will be there playing the song that's on the soundtrack. So that's really cool too. Tony Todd's in there too. Tony Todd is you'll know him from Candyman. If you have not seen Candyman, watch that as well. That's a fantastic movie. So Michael Winsott's the main bad guy. Tony Todd is sort of his bodyguard. Brandon Lee is the Crow. Ernie Hudson, you'll probably know him from most famously. He's in so many movies and he's great. But you'll know him from Ghostbusters. So he factors into this. He plays a policeman that Brandon Lee sort of befriends. And there's so many great character actors in this film that you've seen in many other films. So you'll watch this, and there's an almost immediate familiarity. When you see the characters in these roles. There's so many quotable. There's so many quotable lines in this movie too that I've heard forever since I've watched this. I give this movie 5 out of 5. I mean, I wish I could give it 10 out of 5. But it would be ridiculous. This movie, honestly, guys, it changed my life. When I went to see it. I went to see it at the theater, and I was at that time I was working on a comic book. I was working on my Cape Fear comic, graphic novel, and I was going through a really tough time finding the inspiration to do it in terms of not the inspiration to do it. I have the inspiration to do it, but I was like, why am I doing this? For what reason? What's the purpose? Where is this gonna go? And watching that, watching The Crow, honestly, gave me the, I guess, the motivation you'd want to call it, or the spirit, to finish it and to do more. It is just a fantastic movie, top to bottom, from the opening scene right to the end credits. It's just a marvel to watch. Unfortunately, Brandon Lee's mega opus. As far as he had done other films before. but this film, he played such a great role. He was definitely going to. This was a springboard for him to continue to, do other films. Maybe even a Crow sequel. Sorry, that would have been great. With him in it. Who knows? But this is definitely a movie that they should not touch. There's been always rumors of it being redone. Jason Momoa was attached to it for a long time, and it's kind of one of those movies that's cursed. There's been, I think, 2 or 3 sequels, and I think even a television series based on this. And they were all horrible. Like, they were just the worst. This movie, though, if you ever hear about that stuff, do not project the thoughts or the understanding of that stuff on this movie. This is one of the best films, I think, in terms of what it's supposed to be doing, how it does it, how it gets from point A to point B. There's an action sequence that is utterly astonishing, that is mind-blowing every time I watch it. And I've watched a lot of movies, man. Like, there's a lot of movies in here, not just the ones behind me. There's like movies there, there's movies in there, there's movies everywhere, there's movies over there. So this flick, guys, you gotta watch it. It is The Crow with Brandon Lee. Highly recommended. That's my assessment of this film. Go out and watch it. Stream it. Find it somewhere. Find a copy in a hot shop or something. I don't know, and put it in, slip it in a DVD player, VCR, whatever you have. Watch this film, guys. It's amazing. It's very influential. I think that's it. I think that's all I need to really say. There is some trivia that I could get into, but you know what? It's unnecessary. I just implore you to watch this movie because it's so good. So, having said that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to do some more movie reviews. I'm working on getting some new art tutorials going, and just to show you guys my inking styles and drawing styles and all that stuff. I'm working on a coloring book right now for you guys. It's going to be an all ages coloring book with creatures from mythology, monsters, aliens, all zombie versions of that. So versions of those creatures. So like everything from like a Wendigo to Chupacabra to like alien parasites to all this stuff, all zombified and ready to color. So I'm working on that right now. We're in the midst of the coronavirus outbreak scare. It's scary. It's a reality, though. I am in really bad shape in terms of a lot of bookings that I would have had to do, in various art projects and conventions, and even my teaching job has been halted. And for that, I'm just going to say this. I am still continuing to draw every day and put new stuff on my Patreon page. You know what, guys? If you could give me $1, man, throw $1 into my Patreon a month. It would really help. It would help more now than ever. I use the funds from my Patreon page to basically pay for art supplies, but I'm literally, as an independent artist guy, there are no government subsidies or handouts or anything. So being out of work doesn't mean you're working. I don't work like paycheck to paycheck. I basically work job to job, and there's nothing going on right now. So it's a very scary time for myself and many other gig type artists, musicians, visual artists, performers, anyone that does any kind of independent work outside of a job. And even I'm sure even people that are working jobs can't, some of them can't go to work, and but those bills, those bills always show up on time. So it kind of sucks for us. But if you can, throw $1, man, at my Patreon, that would be awesome. I would really appreciate that. It would really mean a lot. I'm going to leave that link in the bottom in the description here. You can go to that page and check out tons of artwork. You know, I put new stuff on there every single day. There's other podcasts on there. There's exclusive content. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not really going to say anything else. If you feel like doing that, God bless you. I'd really love that. So thank you so much for watching. If you love this video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out some more stuff. There will be tons more. I will be getting into Legos soon. I'm going to be painting a giant skull. I'm going to do a zombie rendering on this giant skull. That should be a lot of fun. I've got a lot of stuff lined up. So please, you know, give me the thumbs up, subscribe, come back, check out more stuff, and be entertained. If you're going to stay in the house anyway because of the coronavirus, might as well watch something and have, you know, see my big bald head and, you know, my green man leashy with the 3-pronged crown beard going on here. So I will see you guys again very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.